This is a lesson about keeping our bows straight. The bow is the foundation for the violin technique because once you have a really straight bow arm, your sound will improve dramatically and you'll have a beautiful sound. And a beautiful sound is what it's all about. Playing the violin is about beautiful sound. Now, let's get some terms organized. Now, if you know these terms already, just bear with me for a moment. First, we have this part of the arm. This is the upper arm, from here to the elbow. And this part of the arm, from the elbow down to my hand, that's called the forearm. Okay? So you have two parts of the arm. Now, let's talk about what the word parallel means. Parallel lines are lines that do not meet, kind of like railroad tracks. So if I would take this pen, I could draw the railroad ties that go like that in between the railroad tracks. Now in this case, of course, we don't have the railroad ties, but we do have the parallel lines. Where are the parallel lines? One of the lines is this bow, and the other is the bridge. So pretend that the bridge extends out into the universe in each direction, and this is just part of the whole line, okay? So the bow and the bridge make parallel lines. Okay? Now, you may think, where are the strings in all this? The bow and the strings make what is called a right angle. So if I would take this pen and continue this line here like that, what do I have? I have a T. So you can remember, if you want a good tone, make a T with your strings. T for tone, so that your bow and the strings intersect at a right angle. Now, let's talk about the bow in the middle. When the bow is right around in the middle, you'll get a square. You see how my arm and the bow and my violin make a square? On every single violin player, there will be a square at some point. Even if you have long arms like me, or short arms, you can find the square, and you can relax your arm by squaring up the square and make all the edges of the square nice right angles. Alright? Now, at the square, the bow hair is approximately flat on the string. Now, as I go from the square to the point, I first encounter this opening and closing motion, which is like a hinge, like a door hinge. And that's the most basic movement of your bow arm. This motion occurs in almost every single bow stroke, the opening and closing of the forearm. So that's what happens first as I go from the square to the point. My forearm opens up. Now right about here approximately, to preserve the straightness of my bow, I need to push out with my upper arm. If I don't do that, I will get this thing which is called saw bowing, which is undesirable. Okay, so let's go back to the square. I'm going to open up my forearm, and when I get to right here, I'm going to push out. Okay, now, as the up bow starts, I'm going to go back in with my upper arm. Now here, my forearm takes over with the opening and closing of the hinge. And here I get the out, and then in, and then the forearm. So, basically, it's very important to work on your bow. Every day, work on your bow so that your bowing gets more and more easy. So how do you work on your bow? Find a mirror, a big mirror somewhere in your house, and look in the mirror where your strings are parallel to the mirror. There's parallel, that word we learned. And you look in the mirror to make sure your bow is straight, and do about 40 bow strokes on each string, like this. Okay, don't be content with just 5 or 6. When you get tired of one string, you can go to another string. You notice that my wrist also makes hills and valleys. When I go on the down bow, my wrist makes a valley, and when I come in on the up bow, my wrist makes a hill. So it's important to have a loose, flexible wrist. In fact, the whole bow arm should be loose and flexible. And we should, at all costs, make sure that your shoulder doesn't hunch. Now, we're working specifically on the square to the point. So, find a big mirror and do about 40 bow strokes on each string. several times, hopefully in a day, so that your bow arms become more and more fluent and easy. So, that's the end of the lesson. Good luck working on your bow arm. Bye!